Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special Comic Art Spotlight. I've got Micah here from ComicConnect, and we're going to be doing a preview of their upcoming auction that ends, at least the comic art portion of the auction is ending next Monday. Right, Micah?
That is correct. Monday, starting at 7 o'clock Eastern.
Okay, yeah, and it can last.
And we don't have video games first this time, so it just goes right into the art.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And video games are Sunday for anybody who's cares about video games.
Now you don't deal with anything but art at Comic.
I deal with some comics, but mostly just art and ephemera. But I dabble in comics as well.
Okay, cool. Well, you kind of have to, I guess, in a way, right? You're gonna have crossover with consigners and people that you're talking to. They're gonna have comics as well as art. So exactly, I get it. So
I like comics.
Well, yeah, that's part of why we're here all the time. Let's see, what was it? It was a few weeks ago. We did on one of my CAF updates. I had a video from the Torpedo Show, and I think I saw you in the background on one of the.
That is entirely possible.
Yeah, were you there?
I was. Me and Vince in Los Angeles. It was fun. It was nice to be at a convention. It was nice to be in Los Angeles, honestly.
I haven't been to LA in a long time, but how was the show? Did you have a good time? I mean,
it was nice. Like? It was a good turnout without feeling overly crowded. Does that make sense?
Sure.
It never felt empty, and it never felt like it was too many people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was nice. It was nice because without San Diego, I got to see a bunch of my California friends who I would normally see in San Diego. So that was nice. It's nice to reconnect with people, especially after a couple years of not having shows.
Right. Now, do you, I'm sure you guys are going to be setting up at New York Comic Con if it does happen. Do you have any kind of exhibit going on at the same time that coincides?
We are having a show here at the gallery that will be opening on the Friday of New York Comic Con. So that would be October 8th, I believe. And that will be new work from Simone Bianchi.
Oh, cool.
And mixed in with that will be work by Ken Lashley.
Awesome. Making note of that so I don't forget.
Yes.
Well, that'll be great.
And Ken will be here because he'll be at Comic-Con. Simone is probably not leaving Italy, which, for obvious reasons.
Right.
But it's been nice. I've seen most of the work. It's really good. It's a lot of stuff that hasn't been around before. Newer work, covers and things, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Same with Ken. Like a lot of stuff that he's done relatively recently that hasn't been offered before, and some stuff that hasn't even been announced yet. Some stuff will be announced between now and then that we'll have available. That I don't know if I'm allowed to get into.
So the opening will be on that Friday of New York.
On the Friday of New York Comic Con, yeah.
Awesome. Well, so anybody going to the show, how would they? Is it open to the public? I mean,
the plan is to have it open to the public. Depending on turnout, there might be a wait.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're not going to be filling the place full of people, but the idea is to be able to have some people up here, and to get to see the work in person. It's part of the fun.
Sure, absolutely. Well, so why don't talking about looking at artwork? Why don't we look at some of the artwork from your 47th event auction that you've got going on? All right. So I know you've got some of the art, or probably most of the art, with you. I can share.
I have a chunk of it.
All right. Well, why don't we? And I know I was just going to follow that press release that you sent me and kind of go in line with that. So showing off the pieces in that order
works for me.
This first one up from the press release was the Jack Kirby.
Yes, this cool Fantastic Four page. You can see it better there, but a lot of Dr. Doom, whacking a guy. We can't go wrong with there. Big spaceship, and then down at the bottom you got Matt Murdock, and this Matt Murdock figure was inked by Wally Wood, as were all the Daredevil Matt Murdock figures in this issue. So you get a little bonus Wally Wood on this page, which is awesome.
Very, very nice.
And yeah, it's Daredevil 39, I think.
Let's see. All right, yeah, FF.
Yes.
FF.
So, you know, that's like peak period Kirby Fantastic Four for me. That, you know, in that the peak of the large art Fantastic Fours, you know, that post issue 25 or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really great.
Nope, that's a beauty, and so that's at current bids just over 9. So you got 4 days to go.
It'd be a bargain at 9,200.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen.
Yep.
We all know that.
Oh, I think you skipped over one.
Oh, did I skip over one? I'm sorry.
Well, they're because I didn't want to bog down the press release. Jack and Kirby linked to different pieces in that press release.
Ah, that's my bad then.
That's okay. That was me trying to be clever. So you got this one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I used that one as part of the promo for the show. That one's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this piece is this is killer for me. This is my wheelhouse of Kirby era here. This Royer 70s big monster. You know, it's just it's perfect.
Wow.
I would very much like to hang this on my wall. But somebody else will get to, and that's fine too.
No, that's a beauty.
But now we can go to the Byrne, which is also great.
Yeah. Hey, Marvel Team Up. I always loved Byrne's run on, all those stories that he did, and anytime you can get Byrne and drawing Arcade, that's a huge plus. And
this issue is the second appearance of Arcade, and the second American appearance of Captain Britain, which is also really cool. I mean, Byrne Arcade. I don't know that anybody else should be allowed to draw Arcade. He's such a uniquely Byrne character, but I love it.
Right. I mean, I can't picture him any other way than the way John drew him.
No, with his Farrah Fawcett haircut.
Exactly. I never thought of it like that, but now that you said it, I'm not going to be able to think of it any other way.
Hey, it was the 70s. What do you want?
Exactly. That's a beauty.
Yeah, and that's, I think, if not the first, one of the first Byrne Claremont collaborations. I think this story came out after I think this story was created first and maybe published later than his first issue of X-Men. But I'm not 100% sure on that. But it's early regardless.
Right. Yeah, I'd have to double check that myself. I'm not sure. Well, very nice. Very nice one. Next one up. I know it's a Buscema here. Let me.
It's the Submariner #1 page.
Yes, it is. Yep, got it up on the screen.
So yeah, Submariner 1 with the Fantastic Four in it. I don't even know what you can say about this that isn't, that needs to be said. It's Submariner #1. It's great Buscema. It's a good page, lots of cool stuff going on. This last panel is fantastic with the triple image of his face.
Oh yeah, no, it's really cool. I've seen a few Subby #1 pages. This is a good one. It's a real nice one.
I love that it has the FF in it.
Oh yeah,
I like it a lot. I love this time period of Buscema. That late 60s Buscema is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great one. Hey, and I'll tell you, I like the fact that I know that these have been out here before, but you guys adding the little video.
Oh, Vince's videos.
Yeah.
He has a good time doing them. People enjoy him. Vince's enthusiasm is nothing if not infectious.
And that's why I always love having him on the shows, because he's a lot of fun. He's always high energy.
He is indeed.
So adding him to these clips is perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be interested to see where that one goes, because
me too.
I always thought that Submariner wasn't one of the most appreciated kind of books out there, and And but the art was fantastic, and really like the first 8 or 10 issues were just amazing, and so.
It's amazing. It's amazing what'll happen when they announce a character is going to show up in a movie.
That is very true.
I'm curious to see how they're going to do it. Is he going to be a naked guy in a Speedo,
right,
with wings on his feet? I hope so. Or you can put him in his the full body costume would be fine too.
Yeah, I mean, what, the disco costume?
Yeah.
So, but I know what you're saying, and that's everybody was disappointed when Master of Kung Fu was not really going to be in his classic costume. There was a lot of people who grumbled, but
I would be shocked if we don't see it in some way or another.
That's true.
The Marvel's pretty good about at least throwing a nod to classic outfits.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out. That movie opens like next week, right? So we'll find out.
I haven't been paying close enough attention to know when it comes out, but I know it's got to be really soon, though. Everybody's too busy talking about the Spider-Man trailer now.
Well,
I know. Yeah, you've got it right on the wall behind you. This nice McKean. So,
it's enormous. It's huge.
It's 20 by 31.
It's pretty big.
Dang. No, that's a beauty.
No, I think it's great. It's something I never realized it until I was doing a little looking into this. All of McKeon's covers for this story have the art is like stitched together with this gold thread on every cover. So it's his like thematic connective element to all the covers to the story have that like stitched together artwork. And the top piece and the bottom piece are original painting. This piece in the middle is a copy of an old master painting. Mm-hmm. But I think it creates a really interesting effect. I love the frame that it's in. That's why I kept it in it, because it's got cherubs all over it. It's just creepy and weird and appropriate.
Right. It's funny. I didn't even notice that until I was looking at the blown up image. That is awesome.
It would have been a shame to take that frame off.
No, it's got to be. It's got to go with the artwork for sure.
And Miracle Man is Miracle Man. There's not a whole lot you can say about it. I don't envy Neil Gaiman for having to follow Alan Moore.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he did a pretty good job. I think he took the book in a different direction. He didn't try to just repeat what Alan Moore had done. Those were actually the first Miracle Mans I ever read, were the Gaiman ones. Because I was reading Sandman already. So I was like, a new Neil Gaiman thing, I'm going to read it. And it's like, it's issue 17. That's fine.
No, I hear you. But no, that's an amazing cover. And I've actually never seen one in person. So
and it's from that time period when McKeon was doing his covers just gigantic. It's like the early Sandman covers and that stuff is from around the same time period. Those covers are enormous. They're monstrous. And a lot of the early Sandman covers are like sculptures.
Right. Oh yeah. No, I've seen. Scott's got a few, right? 2, right? And they're more like reliefs or like.
Well, it's a painting set inside of like a cabinet
box. Okay, like a cabinet, right? Okay,
yeah. With shelving and 3-dimensional objects around the painting. He stopped doing that relatively early on. I imagine it was an absurd amount of work to end up being printed this big.
Right. Right. But those were pretty dang beautiful though. And then something like you said, there's a reason why he probably only did a few of them. It wasn't worth the effort, but yeah, it has to be pretty cool and look great on a wall at the end of the day.
The first time I went to Scott's apartment before I started working for him, so this is 15 years ago or something like that. Before he had posted that art online,
mm-hmm.
It was the first thing you'd see when you open the door of his apartment was the Sandman 1 cover. And I just opened the door. He opened the door and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Well, it's first impressions, right? I mean, Scott knows. He probably knew that any of his art friends that come over, their jaw's going to drop when they walk through the
and
the
it's
door.
just you don't imagine it being as large as it is.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, we got a lot to get through. So let's
yes, we do.
Move
I'm
along.
sorry.
That's okay. I can talk about Dave McKeon all day. And to segue into something just as similar, right? This is the same.
A little bit of Zeck.
I think this is peak nostalgia right here, is it not?
Oh yeah, heck yeah. Who wasn't reading G.I. Joe back then?
I mean, I didn't read the comics too much. I was obsessively watching the cartoon. I don't know if I was reading comic book comics yet when the G.I. Joe was on TV, but I do have a soft spot for G.I. Joe because of the cartoon. And, and I mean, honestly, if you're going to get a G.I. Joe cover, I mean, Mike Zeck is Mike Zeck. So you're getting at least like a piece by a top tier artist.
Right.
And there's something like both ridiculous and amazing about all the G.I. Joe art. I love it. I love Cobra Commander's outfit. I love you can hear the voice, just like, it's like, ooh.
Yes, exactly. Thanks to the cartoon.
That's right.
And that's, it's funny because a lot of times when I do interviews with collectors, that's one of the first things that everybody talks about is that, they got sucked into comics because of whether it was this, Spider-Man or it was G.I. Joe or it was Transformer or something along those lines. It wasn't always the comic books first. It was the TV shows and then the comics and then eventually artwork. And I think that's pretty, it's a very common kind of thread and progression for people.
Absolutely. I was talking to somebody recently and it's like Spider-Man came up and I was talking about like Spider-Man number 9. It's like, it's one of the few early Spider-Man comics I actually own. And he's like, why number 9? I was like, well, it's because it's the first appearance of Electro and Electro is my favorite Spider-Man villain. To which he said, why? And I said, Spider-Man and his amazing friends. That's why. Because the Electro episode of that show was my favorite episode.
Of course.
So hence Electro is my favorite Spider-Man villain. And it hurts me every time I go into Vincent's office and see his page from issue 9 on the wall. I'll shake my fist like I'm Cobra Commander.
Well, at least you get to see it every time you go.
Yeah, that's true. There's something to be said about that. It's like all the walls, the art on the walls here. It's like it's a privilege to get to just see it.
Oh, I agree. Well, we have to do another tour sometime of the place. Like, Vincent took us on that one about it. Well, it's almost been a year, probably. It was around December.
Just about last November, December, something like
November,
that.
December, yeah. So we're due. We have to do another fall tour.
Maybe I'll do it, and I'll pick out different things. Different people have different things that that stick out to them.
No, I'd like to do that. I mean, your next event auction is probably 2.5 months.
November.
Right? November. All right. Okay. Well, we should try to plan on that then. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We could do a preview and a walkthrough.
Yes. We'll need more time.
Yes, we will. No, that'll be fine. That'll be something we do on an off night, like a Tuesday night, where I can spend as much time as we want. We'll do it that would work really good. Tuesday's my long day, and we have no cutoff points.
Nice. All right. Next
one is Nick Cardy piece.
Yeah. I got Nick. I think we may have talked about Nick Cardy before, an underappreciated Silver Age artist, I think.
Without question. I love Cardy's work.
And
fantastic.
And 60s Superman cover. It's actually this is a 70s Superman cover. That's weird. I would have guessed earlier, but that's okay. 70s still cool, still good. The drawing is really good. It's like sometimes you just see something that's just good drawing. And, Cardy could draw. And you see, Cardy did a lot of like outside of comics work. He did a lot of illustration work. And, you don't get that work if you don't have skills.
Oh, yeah. No, this is an amazing piece.
I also like, I'm sure the story in this is not Superman killing a guy by throwing him off a plane. But I still like that image. I like that idea of Superman's just like, get out of here.
Right. I know. Well, that was always the tease on a lot of DC covers.
Yes.
One of the heroes acting bad, but they really weren't. But it was a good way to suck you into that comic book.
It's just DC from the late 50s on got really good at giving you a hook on the cover. I think that's probably all Carmine Infantino's doing. He was great at cover imagining. You know, it's like let's make Superman real fat, and then the people buy the book and find out why.
Right, you have to find out why. Right, so you've got to pay your dime or your quarter.
Or let's make him a baby.
Let's make him a baby. Yeah. Well, it worked though, didn't it?
It did indeed. I love this piece. I love it. I mean, you got P. Greg Russell, who's just a fabulous artist, who doesn't sell a lot, so there's not a ton of his work out there. And then just a beautiful Dr. Manhattan image. Like, I think he captures the sort of like calmness of Dr. Manhattan that, you know, that Dave Gibbons did that really well. But you get that here, you know, 20 something years later. I guess just a little less than 20 years later. Or no, wait, never mind. More than like 25 years later.
25, I was going to say.
And it's color, it's just great. It's just a beautiful drawing by a great artist from a comic I've never read, so I have no opinion on that.
I didn't read it either. I hate to say it. As many times as I've read Watchmen, I didn't really read any of these books at all, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But the art produced for him was fantastic.
There was a lot of good art, which made it actually difficult to resist reading some of them, but got to hold firm.
Oh yeah,
I've been reading the new Rorschach book, so I clearly have no standards.
But yeah, I completely agree. Though Russell is there's not enough of his work out there, and even to this day, his work is phenomenal. He's just an incredible talent, and this is beauty.
When was the last time he did any sort of like hero work? Because he's been doing mostly fantasy work and Sandman related stuff and fantasy stuff.
Exactly.
For most of the last 20, 25, 30 years.
Right. I mean, anything that has hit the market lately has always been just straight up fantasy work. I mean, I know. So,
it's still beautiful work.
Yeah.
But, to get a Watchmen, like a published Watchmen piece by P. Greg Russell, I think that's pretty great. I
agree. Now I've got 3 Walt Kelly.
We into the Walt Kelly section of. This is as good as art gets. I mean, I love Walt Kelly. I love it. The drawing. Like Walt Kelly's skill as an artist is, almost unparalleled. He's just, the way he draws with a brush is so difficult, and he makes it look easy, which is the job of any great artist, is to make something incredibly hard look easy. And it just looks effortless. And this is 1956, which is, like the peak of the comic strip. The peak of its popularity was soaring. This is from a book of sheet music of songs based on the comic that was accompanied a record that they put out. That's how popular Pogo was. They made a record of music inspired by Pogo.
I did not know that.
Which is a terrible record.
you had to listen to it as part of your research. Yeah.
I do. Hey, I have it. It's but yeah, this is like the title page illustration from that book, Songs of the Pogo. And then there was a different illustration for every song. So, let me see. Well, we can do them out of order. It doesn't matter.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So, this is from a song called Slopposition. And it's got Kelly's great woodland creatures. I don't know what I can say about these. They're just, if you look at this and I could understand, it's funny animals and that's not for everyone, and that's fine. But I don't see how you could look at this and say it's not just great drawing.
Oh, no. I'm looking at the tree and just the line work on the tree. And no one does it like
I don't know if you can really see it, but there's like he does these really fine lines on like the animal faces. It's really delicate work. This one, it's little. Yeah, and the next one is just his little mouse and frog enjoying a cup of tea. I mean, it's I don't know.
Don't sugar me. I love that.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I mean, that's why, Pogo strips go for a decent amount, and they have held their value and can,
they've actually been increasing. Right. I thought that Pogos were, except for the really early ones, I thought Pogos were undervalued for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they're finally starting to, get up to a point where it's like, people are starting to appreciate how good they are. And I also understand comic strips, a comic strip that ran for 25 years, there's thousands of them.
Right.
And I get that. It's like animation cells. It's like, you'd think animation cells would be worth more because movies are so popular, but every animated movie has just tens of thousands of cells.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So they're not, the rarity is a factor, and there are Pogos out there. I have one on my wall in my apartment.
I've always been tempted, but I have yet to buy a Pogo strip. I really should, but yeah, you're right. You're right though. They have they've continued to perform well, and they're accessible, right? Because
mm-hmm.
you always see a few on different auction houses pretty regularly. So they're still out there. They're still accessible, and if you're a collector who really just likes to get good representative work from a lot of people, Kelly is a good person.
Yeah,
from.
I think, and these are what I like about these is that they're from one of the books, and you don't see as much art from the books as you see from this strip. So, like either the comic books or just the Pogo collected books, you don't see a lot of that work,
mm-hmm.
or at least as much of it available for sale. So that was exciting. When those came in, I was excited.
Well, you've got 3 available.
3. And they're all reasonably priced right now.
Well, as we know how the auctions usually go, everything is last minute. Everybody likes to wait, especially on just with the way the bidding platform works at ComicConnect, how the time gets extended and everything. So people, I think they might tend to want to wait a little bit longer on bidding. You never know.
Right. I as a person who's bid in auctions,
mm-hmm.
I generally bid at the end. I get it.
Yes, there's an art to sniping, and then there's
but there's no snipe. We don't allow. You can't snipe in our auction.
Right, you can't snipe at all. Right,
it makes it fair. It's like a real auction.
Mm-hmm.
You always have that opportunity to decide you want to go again.
Right. And
I think that's it's good. Because a lot of times you'll bid on something. The way eBay works, like you bid and you lose by $2 or whatever. And it's like, I should have put in $5 more, but you can't. And the way our site works is you can't.
What's the extended time after the
3 minutes? It's 3. The auctions end when there's been 3 minutes with no bids.
Got it.
So once the auction gets below 3 minutes, every bid sets the clock back to 3 minutes.
Right. I mean, that's more than fair.
Yeah, I would maybe argue too much more than fair, but. But I think it's fine. It works, and it gives people time to really think about whether they want to bid again. Which is, as a bidder, I think a blessing and a curse.
Sure.
But that's okay. Nobody's bidding on something that they didn't want.
Oh,
it's hard to regret something. You only regret things you don't win. Right.
That's the words we all live by. Or there are other regrets too, but yes. I totally get it. That's a big one. So this next one is the Phantom Lady. But now we don't know the artist on this one, or
we don't. I guess the people at the Farrell Publishing Company did not keep good records. So We don't know. It's a really well drawn cover, that's for sure. I would love. It's probably. I would say that if we did find out who did it, it would be somebody who's recognizable. It's good enough that I would be shocked if it was somebody who wasn't already known.
Right.
But it's hard to guess with this stuff. But it's great. It's Golden Age covers by the smaller publishers are rare. Golden Age covers by all publishers are relatively rare, but this is a good one. I like it a lot. It's surprising how small it is, but I've seen that in a lot of Golden Age artwork. I've seen they're smaller than you'd think they'd be, especially the non DC, non sort of timelies. They weren't. There wasn't really a standard, like an industry standard for size. I know I've seen a couple of Macworld Boy covers from the 40s, and they're very small, like almost actual size, which is weird.
Yeah, now that I wouldn't expect at all.
Yeah. But yeah, I like it a lot. Somebody's going to be real happy with that, I think.
Oh yeah, no, there are still a lot of collectors of art from this period out there, that would love to own that. And that one's getting, that's the highest bid item at the moment on the auction.
At the moment, yeah. And I think well deserved. I think it's people see the rarity in it. Like a lot of stuff is great and it's expensive, but if you miss it, something else will come along. And with this, it might not.
Right. Yeah. Very, very true.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. Next up is Lee Elias piece. And
another Golden Age cover.
Yeah. No, this one's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Elias, I'd say
Elias is more known for his horror covers.
Yeah.
But specific horror covers that maybe sold recently.
Yeah. Yes.
But
that's very true.
He was a good artist, and it's very much in that sort of EC mold. Like this could have been a Two Fisted Tales cover.
Exactly.
It's that great, and the military stuff in the 50s, I think hit people closer to home than it does now. Mm-hmm. I think the wars, the World War II and the Korean War, I think were much more touchstones for everyone than we really have now. The wars now are sort of, they affect a smaller group of the population, which is, I think, why war comics were so popular in the 50s.
Sure.
It was part of everybody's life. And this stuff like this, it humanizes the aspect of something that maybe you didn't experience firsthand. And Two Fisted Tales is also my favorite EC title, so
No, I don't blame it. But Elias is another artist I don't own anything from, but I would love everything I've seen by him. I love.
You can buy this one.
I could try to buy that one. Unfortunately, I'm not as wealthy as some people might think. but yeah, I mean, because there's actually been a couple times that a few people have sold things during our the Comic Art Live Con that we had on CAF, and every single time it's come up, I have actually tried to get the pieces because they were smaller and affordable, and every time I'm late, and I just, it's frustrating because I've actually tried to buy a couple pieces and I've missed out. It's disappointing, and it's that feeling you're talking about. It's that missed opportunity when you see it, you think it's available, and then it's not.
Yep.
That's the great thing about auctions. At the end of the day, you're in the game until it's over. At least
it's true. It's true. Although there's something, it's like you following something over the course of an auction, and then you get up like the day of the auction and you're all excited, and then you look at the price that morning and you're like, damn it.
Yeah, I have experienced that many times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, again, it's back to you can't own everything.
You can't. Speaking of things I would love to own, not a Two Fisted, but it is a Jack Davis, and Jack Davis is he's top 5 EC artist for me, and maybe top 3. I would put Jack Davis, in my top 5 artists of the Golden Age. I think he could do everything. I was talking to somebody about this recently too. It's about Davis versus, say, like Wood or like Frazetta or Williamson. Mm-hmm. Or actually, it was Wood and Bill Elder and Jack Davis. And the reason why I prefer Jack Davis to both of them, which is not to say he's a better artist than either, but it's that Jack Davis, like Wood was great at, science fiction and at the war and at horror, but he wasn't really great at humor. He could do it, and it was still really good. And Elder was great at humor and could do the other stuff, but also didn't like shine in that stuff. But Davis was great at all of it. He could do horror, he could do science fiction, he could do humor comics as well as anybody has ever made humor comics. And maybe after in the 60s, right up until he died, 5-10 years ago. Maybe the most successful caricaturist of the last 50 years. With their album covers and movie posters and TV Guide covers, Time magazine covers. I mean, he was almost everybody in America who's over 30 years old would instantly recognize Jack Davis's drawing style. Sure.
Without question.
I just love how he crammed so much stuff into here. He did the space stuff great. Just one of my favorite artists. I need a good Jack Davis. I have a piece, but it's not a great one. That's something I need to improve on.
Well, yeah. At the end of the day, you've got one of the best jobs in comic art. Really, you get to handle so much awesome artwork. You don't get to own it all, and own very little of it. But at least you get to see it all the time. And again, working at Metropolis, just gives you the opportunity to see that collection day in and day out. I mean,
absolutely.
A lot of people would love to be in your position.
Yep. All right. Let's start moving faster because we're running out of time.
I know. I was just thinking the same thing. I've got no. We like to talk about art, but yeah, we'll go
do some 60s Brave and the Bold, some Batman and Green Arrow. We were talking about 60s DC comics before. I mean, this is it. This is, it captures the fun of that era of DC. So it's, what separates DC from Marvel. Marvel comics, Marvel comics are Marvel comics, but DC comics are fun. And that's all they were trying to be, and I think they succeed in spades.
I agree.
Just that great 60s Batman. I love it. Then there's another 60s Batman. A couple years later, still 60s, still a lot of fun. Batman's Wanted for Marriage. It's hard to beat that.
I know that is crazy. We were talking about some DC art the other day, and just having a chuckle about it. The way their storytelling was just so unique, and they just took very different approaches to comedy to make things a little bit more light and different than any other books at the time before they went dark.
Absolutely. And I mean, which isn't to say that when DC got there, and in that late 60s, like they didn't shy away from cultural relevance. When Neil Adams came along and things like that, and they really kind of pushed the envelope, but maybe more than Marvel did at a point. DC did the drug story first.
True, that is very true. Yeah,
and even the cover, you can't get more in your face than that Green Lantern, Green Arrow cover. So, they didn't shy away from it. It just took them a little longer, but that's okay. Yeah. Again, those 60s comics are so much fun. I don't care. It's more 60s DC. This is actually 1970, getting a little darker with the Phantom Stranger.
Yeah. So I can show that one too. There it goes.
The Jim Aparo was the Batman artist of my sort of like prime Batman reading days in my youth, so I'll always have a soft spot for Aparo. And his early stuff is great. I love it's got a lot of the old comic art technique that's basically died away now. It's like the scraping the razor blade across the artwork to get this effect.
Sure.
That's kind of a lost art.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see that at all, in modern art. I mean, since they did all that kind of stuff digital, but I know a lot of people would be surprised to actually see that technique on a piece of art that they were trying to, to actually realize that it is just scraping the paper to produce that.
The problem is somebody tried to teach me how to do it once, and I think the problem is that if you make a mistake, you can't fix it. It's like, oh well,
Well, they probably had who knows? But again, they knew what they were doing, so they probably find a way.
Yes, I mean, like anything else, you do it enough, and you don't even think about it. You just do it.
Agreed. Let's see what else we got here.
This is Gene Colan, Tales to Astonish, the Submariner page from Tales to Astonish, 1966. Nice twice up Gene Colan, inked by Dick Ayers. It's just, it's back to, go away from as like the opposite of what a DC comic from 1966 looks like. But they're really embracing the sort of reality of the world. I mean, this looks like New York in the 60s. I mean, it's just, it's what Marvel was doing. It's what Marvel did so well at that time.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, okay, that's a beautiful page.
Yeah, I like it. Some more Colan. Through here, there's 2 consecutive half pages from Daredevil. Daredevil number 67. I'm holding them out of order. They go this way. It's Daredevil and Stiltman undercover as a movie stuntman, trying to get the best of Daredevil. Daredevil can't quite figure it out. He gets there eventually.
Yeah, I love Gene Colan Daredevil.
Yeah, Colan Daredevil. I mean, I think that's I think the book that made him Gene Colan.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's another Colan coming up that might be my favorite of the Colans we have. We'll get there in a minute. It's Ghost Stories cover. This is a Ghost Stories is a Dell horror title from the 60s, covered by Frank Springer. It's great mummy. I'm pretty sure that's a Nazi, so I like the idea of a mummy cursing a Nazi on the cover of a comic book. I'm a fan. This is actually just done with white paint, which is also a nice effect.
Yeah, I'd like to see the
guy who doesn't get the credit he deserves.
I wouldn't mind seeing the published cover of that one.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, it's got more color in it than you think.
Oh yeah. No, well, actually, there's the way your site is set up, it has a similar
item.
So I could actually take a look at it. Yeah, very very cool. You're right. It's very colorful. It's not what I was expecting at all. That's cool.
Now,
what do you got here next?
Cool.
I think I'll let's see. I'm gonna go this way. Here we go.
Yeah. John Buscema, Thor, double spread, or double splash.
It's from 219.
219. With just crazy, Thor shenanigans. You don't see a lot of Buscema double spreads.
No, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it is. It's got a lot going for it. Lot of background, which is nuts. Based on the way the pages line up, I don't think Buscema liked doing double splashes because we did not spend a lot of time making sure the pages lined up, but that's okay.
That's funny.
And because we're flushed with Buscema Thor, the Thor splash, Thor getting clobbered.
I know. I saw that. I really like that one when I saw that in the auction. Yeah, that's a nice piece.
Thor getting clocked by a troll.
That's from issue 210, right?
210, yeah. It's good stuff. Buscema could draw action, that's for sure.
Oh no, that's awesome.
A couple more Buscema Thors. There's 2 more Buscema Thors in the auction. Everybody go look at them. I'm going to skip past them and move on to the next thing because we only have a few minutes left.
Yeah, that is true. So let's what do we jump to? The Avengers 133.
Let's skip to the Captain America pages. There's a Sal Buscema Avengers. You can look at that too, but there's other Sal Buscema Captain America pages that maybe I want to show the 2 of those. Just Sal Buscema is a guy who's picked up a ton of interest recently, and I think deserved. I think he kind of sat around sort of on the middle, it's like second level value, like interest wise, for a long time, and I think people have started to realize that he was really great too. Like a Batrock in disguise here, kind of.
Right.
So that's fun.
He isn't disguised very well in that.
Yeah.
The hat and sunglasses aren't enough.
Hey, if Superman can get away with just putting on a pair of glasses, I think Batrock can, he can blend into it.
All right. You got me there. I was forgetting how Superman had it.
Next piece is great. This is one of my favorite pieces in the auction. Gil Kane, Marvel Premiere #1.
Oh, let's see. There we go. Yep, the Gil Kane. Got it.
With this is the issue. This is the comic where Warlock gets his name, where he stops being just him. I love this drawing of the what's his name? The Supreme Intelligence.
I'm drawing a blank on it as well. But no, this is a great page.
But that's Gil Kane right there. Just that pose.
Sure.
Classic Gil Kane. I love this sort of like Warlock's head just sort of in the background throughout the page. It's really nice. This is just great. 1971. That's just good stuff.
And isn't Kane one of Vincent's favorite artists?
I believe he is. Kane, and Vince likes a lot of that early Bronze Age stuff. Kane and Starlin, John Buscema.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, and there's another Kane Warlock from Warlock #3, which is also nice. Kane was a really strong on this title. A lot of good work on this title.
Oh yeah. Now see, I don't have any artwork by Kane either. So
yeah, me neither.
Dang it.
Move on to this ridiculously awesome Bill Everett Submariner #55, which was probably one of his last books. I don't know what issue he ended on, but this was towards the end. And he's like, this is the razor blade technique again. And it's a 2/3 splash of a insane monster, and there's not a lot to not love about that. And nobody drew water like Bill Everett.
No.
He drew water great.
Well, he was totally born to draw Subby.
Yeah. Now this is the Colan that I think this is Colan at his Colaniest. This next piece, it's Tomb of Dracula splash.
Oh yeah.
This face over here is it's almost like it's just that classic 70s horror drawing. It's like Wrightson or Mike Plug, just that great sort of like dripping flesh. It's fantastic. These great Colan girls down at the bottom.
No, that is a great page.
Yeah. So you've got a couple of Herb Trimpe pieces. It's Marvel 2-in-1 #9. It's The Thing and that's Thor, but not Thor. There's a lot of corrections on this page by John Romita, which is nice too. You get a little bonus John Romita.
Right. Well, John did a lot of that.
Yes. There's more of that on the next one too. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of white out in the faces, and that's Romita being like, I'm going to make that better.
Well, he had full liberty to do that. So
he did indeed. And who is going to argue with John Romita?
Nobody. Nobody at all.
This is a supervillain team-up splash with the classic supervillain team of Submariner, Dr. Doom, and Henry Kissinger, who may be the most evil of the three. Doom's face is a paste up that Romita did and patched on. So this is, Herb Trimpe and Pablo Marcos, and Romita just redrew Dr. Doom's face and pasted it down. And you got Fantastic Four walking away in defeat.
I was just going to say that same thing, and you get the FF in it as well.
Yeah, and supervillain team up, such a great idea for a book, especially from that time period. It's like, then they just embrace. It's only a matter of time before we get a Disney Plus supervillain team up show.
Well, we deserve one.
Yes.
I've been making a joke about that on Dueling Dealers, actually. I have this one where I've called it the Secret Society of Supervillains, and I've kind of set it up where I just kind of roll in a different one each time, but teasing it as if it's going to be a Marvel movie at some point, because it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And everything will be eventually, which is fine because, so far so good.
Right.
Let's go real quick here. So Ron Wilson, Marvel 2-in-1, Tony Stark in The Thing.
Yeah, I'm going to keep the camera on you now so we could kind of move through these last few ones.
This is Frank Thorne, cover to Police Action, one of the Atlas titles from the 70s, but nice 70s twice-up cover by Frank Thorne, who's another artist who's finally starting to get his due. He had to die for people to really care. Mm-hmm. But Frank Thorne, I've always been a fan of Frank Thorne. This is another great, captures action really well. A nice big drawing, which is cool too. Little kung fu action. It's a painting by Ken Barr. It's an unpublished Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, which it's a shame that it went unpublished. It's a really good painting. Try to get some.
What year was that one? That was done during the
mid 70s.
70s, yeah.
Or late 70s maybe.
Nice.
But just good painting. Nice image too. This would look great hanging on a wall. It's nice. It's really got a lot of presence. This is one of 5 pages from a Partridge Family.
Partridge Family, yeah.
It's by Don Sherwood. This is what's her name? The mother.
Oh, man. I did watch the Partridge Family when I was
Shirley Partridge? Yeah. I forget the actress's name right now. It's on the website, says who's who. But there's 4 more of these up for auction as well. 4 more pages from the same story. Suicide Squad from the 80s. It's great. Suicide Squad. Cover by Luke McDonnell. Speaking of movies. But this cover's cool. It's I think it's Nightshade, who was the old Charlton character who was the basis for Silk Spectre and Watchmen. Mm-hmm. So that's cool.
It was Shirley Jones, by the way. Rich and
thank you.
Ted
who played?
Know that. Yes,
thank you,
played
And another more modern Suicide Squad cover with sort of the team that maybe people are more familiar with. The Rick Flag and Amanda Waller and Deadshot. John K. Snyder, who's an artist I've been a fan of for a long time. I like that.
That's very nice.
This piece I love this piece. Pat Broderick and Klaus Janson, Detective Comics splash from 1983. Yeah, this is the piece you used in the when you put up the article today. Today?
Yeah, exactly.
I think that I love this page more than I thought I would. It's just got everything going for it from that early 80s Batman. And it's got every character in it. It's fabulous. And Jansen, I'm a big fan of Klaus Janson. So it's you get that real nice early 80s Jansen, a lot of little scratchy lines and whiteout, and it's a little messy, which I like. I'm a fan of art that shows its work. So it's a little bit of mess means the artists were trying.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful one, and that's why we picked it as part of the piece when we posted it, because I love that one.
Let's see what else we got here. This is page from GI Joe number 6. So nice early, more GI Joe art, but that's early Marvel GI Joe page. You don't see a whole lot of early GI Joe art. It's cool. It's got it's very very Larry Hama-y, very nice. This page is by Herb Trimpe, but Hama's fingerprints are all over GI Joe for 100 and however many issues it ran.
Exactly.
This page is actually really cool. I like it more than I thought I would. Greg Capullo Batman from Batman number 36. Little evil Superman dropping a building on Batman. No, as he'll do.
Yeah. It's that DC humor coming back.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know how funny it was supposed to be. I think Superman was trying to kill Batman. It's a Tony Daniel Batman cover, well, the Detective Comics cover from the New 52 Detective Comics relaunch. Tony Daniel did some great work on that book. I like this cover a lot. Just it's good drawing. I like the big skull. You win me over with a big skull. Another Tony Daniel Detective Comics cover.
Very nice.
Howard Chaykin, Punisher versus Deadpool, or Deadpool versus Punisher, however I do it. I like Chaykin showing a sense of humor, which is always good. Chaykin's, he's a pretty funny guy for somebody whose comics are so serious.
Yeah, I've seen many an interview with him.
Yeah. But I really like this drawing. I like the combination of ink and it's got a little pencil in it. He draws a good Deadpool, which I don't know that I would have necessarily guessed. But I like the expression. I like the way he draws Deadpool's face.
That's a good one.
Chaykin Punisher, that makes sense to me. Chaykin Deadpool,
right.
I'm a little surprised. But like that. This is another just a wraparound cover. Guardians of the Galaxy, Declan Shalvey. Just Groot, baby Groot into adult Groot. Cool.
Issue number 9.
Issue number 9. Let's see. Let's get through as many as we can in the next 3 minutes. The Tom Mandrake Spectre cover. Tom Mandrake did great work on the Spectre.
Oh yeah.
And this is a beautiful cover. The Spectre.
I love Mandrake's work. Great,
yeah,
great deal. That's a beauty.
Negan and Rick facing off in a Walking Dead splash. This was supposed to be a cover that ended up being a splash page. So it's got the signature on it like the covers have, but that was blacked out in the issue.
Right, and it's all penciled in ink by Charlie.
Penciled in ink by Albert, yeah.
Yeah, like the covers always were during that period. Yep.
And this is another really good one. Sorry, another double splash. This one's with Mike Perkins from Ed Brubaker's Captain America. This is, I think, this is issue 24. I think the next issue Captain America gets shot and stays dead for a couple years. Which good on Ed Brubaker for keeping Captain America dead for a couple years. But yeah, one of the rare issues that Mike Perkins did pencils and inks instead of just inking over Steve Epting, but I think he proves he's a capable artist right here. Captain America going to town on a whole bunch of Hydra soldiers.
Very, very nice.
Yep. And let's see. We've got this Jackson Geese. I don't know. I've never known how to pronounce his name.
I always said Geist, but I'm probably wrong.
Red Sonja. This is from a Red Sonja portfolio that he did in the 80s. Just another guy who he could draw. He had chops. This is a nice little somber Red Sonja piece. Nice. This is pretty cool. This is a nice piece that I don't think is getting a lot of traction in the auction just yet, and I think it should. So it's it's Teen Titans double splash by Dan Jurgens, inked by George Perez, and which I think it's unusual. You don't see a lot of George Perez inking other artists, and I think he does a really excellent job on Jurgens. No, and it's got very true.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too. But hey, I hate to do it. I've got to end this thing.
I know.
I got 30 seconds before I have to start my next show.
We hit almost all of it, so I consider that a success. Thank you. So, thanks again, Bill. Everybody at the auction. This isn't even begin to show you all the art in the auction. It's Monday, auction ends on Monday, ComicConnect.com. You can see all of it. And please do. And thanks everybody for putting up with me.
Yeah, and if anybody
Thanks,
has any
Bill, for having
questions,
me.
yes, shoot them an email through the site if you've got any questions about any of the items, any of the lots, or any questions about the auction platform. Please reach out to them. They'll
Absolutely.
probably be the one to help you out. So Monday night is the end of that auction, and I hope everybody checks it out this weekend and put some bids in.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks again, Bill.
All right, Micah, you have a good night.
You too.
Thank you very much. Hey, everybody, I'll be